The Touya Todoroki plotline just got flipped on its head in My Hero Academia chapter 386. If you didn't know, in My Hero Academia's final war arc, we've already had a battle going on between the Todoroki family members, where we've already seen a battle taking place between Shoto Todoroki and Touya Todoroki, and now it seems like we're about to get into a fight between Endeavor and Touya, as Touya has made his way over to Endeavor's battle area, and All For One is no longer there. The Shoto Todoroki versus Dabi fight, we've already kind of covered all the events that have happened in that battle on the channel already, so you can click the card in the top right to go watch that. But in that battle, we saw Shoto awakening a brand new move called Phosphor, which is supposed to pretty much take all of the heat away from whatever it touches. So after using that on Dabi, he did think that everything was over, but that move seemed like it took a lot of stamina from Shoto, who pretty much used everything that he had in that battle against his brother. So it wasn't surprising to me that when Dabi started flying away after actually being awake at the end of that battle and using his own version of Phosphor, I guess, to keep himself alive, Shoto wasn't able to just quickly keep up with him and go where he was going and make it through that portal, because he was pretty much gassed at that point. But some time has definitely gone by, so we're going to talk in a second about how Shoto is rejoining this battle. So that's a quick recap of everything that's happened already, but now let's get to where we actually are in present time. Because after Dabi made his way over to Endeavor's battlefield, we've seen Endeavor actually leading him away from the battlefield, right? Like flying through the Gunga Mountain forest as Dabi follows him, and they're seemingly going to the place of their final battle. Now, this whole situation just seemed really odd, because it's kind of like, you know, you would expect the rest of the Todoroki family to be there after their conversation that they had at the end of the last arc about how they were going to handle the Touya Todoroki situation moving forward. And technically, Dabi did fight Shoto, and now he's going on to fight Endeavor, so that's kind of like, you know, all the bases are more or less covered there. But I did always think that it was really weird how the other Todoroki family members weren't really included in Dabi's resolution. But it seems like in this chapter, Horikoshi is trying to work that out. In My Hero Academia chapter 386, we get the news that Dabi is actually going to explode. Like, he's full on just gonna take out everything in a 3-mile radius with his massive flames, right? Because what Dabi is doing is pretty much heating up his body to the point where it should not be heated. We know that fire quirk users in My Hero Academia do have like a different composition than just a regular person. So when Dabi was copying Shoto's maneuver, pretty much copying his Phosphor into his own, the process of doing that included sending all the fire in his body through his circulatory system into his heart as sort of a core. So not only is Dabi frying from the outside, he is literally boiling from the inside, and that boiling is building up a pressure that is building and building and building, and in this chapter we see cracks forming all over Dabi's body symbolically, showing that eventually that pressure is going to need to be released, and it is going to be released in a 3-mile radius, taking out absolutely everything, probably even Endeavor. Despite the fact that these are flames, it's Dabi's flames, right? So you could only imagine the level of spectacle that would happen if he just popped like a firework. Now, myself and a lot of people have been wondering if this whole situation with Dabi exploding might play into the sort of Dabi Phoenix theory that a lot of people believe in. I definitely believe in that theory. I really like it very much, the idea that Dabi still has some sort of secret to his quirk that hasn't really been explained, because we still aren't exactly sure how he survived after leaving the doctor's location after the original fire that he was in, and there are still some questions about his character that haven't been answered yet. So hopefully in this situation where it seems like Dabi is just guaranteed to explode because he is going to be having a fire battle against Endeavor, we will likely see the answer to some of those mysteries with Dabi. A lot of people think that maybe this explosion is going to be the beginning of his Phoenix transformation, right? And that kind of comes of one of two different outcomes. Some people believe that Dabi is going to go Phoenix and he's going to be like truly a Phoenix, like actually reborn from the beginning. I think the worst ending in My Hero Academia would be if that happened and then they were like, we'll raise you right this time, and they just took little baby Dabi and were like, let's try again. But the other, of course, is like a more sensical approach to the Phoenix theory, where Dabi is gonna heal, right, and get his flesh back via doing this giant explosion. Maybe this is just an aspect of his quirk that we didn't know about and don't understand. Or this could just be Horikoshi being a madman and actually having Dabi just blowing up. And that's it. GG, goodbye. You're out of here. Now, the one monkey wrench that it seems like Horikoshi is throwing in this whole situation, and the reason that I said it feels like he's kind of trying to fix the issue of the Todoroki family not really being there, is something that happens in this chapter that we already discussed in the spoiler video. In chapter 386, we see that the rest of the members of the Todoroki family, including Natsuo, Fuyumi, and Rei, have all been let out of their escape pod as the escape pod heads over to Shiketsu from UA, and they've actually been dropped off at the Gunga Mountain Villa location. So this means the rest of the Todoroki family is theoretically in range of Dabi's massive explosion, so I do believe that Horikoshi is going to now work in those characters to make sure that everyone gets from point A to point B, and everyone can be with Dabi and Endeavor in this whatever final moments battle that we're about to get. And I know some people might question like, okay, Natsuo and the family have been left over at Gunga Mountain Villa, but Endeavor did kind of just fly away, but I feel like they could follow the flames or follow the heat signatures. They would know if they see massive flames in the middle of the forest exactly who that is, especially if it's blue and red fire clashing at each other like Azula and Zuko. So I do think the rest of the Todoroki family is gonna find Endeavor and Dabi by following the path of their heat or the path of their flames through the forest. But what exactly is gonna happen there? Like, what's gonna happen when all of the Todoroki family members are in the same place? And I say all of them because in this chapter we also have the information that All Might is pretty much sending Shoto and Ida to that area because he gives them the information about Dabi's explosion, and I don't think he knows about the other Todoroki family members being in that location just yet, and he's probably not gonna have time to give Shoto that information considering he's about to be busy fighting All for One. But I think sending Shoto is the right idea for All Might to have, because again, Shoto has the only move here that could potentially actually stop Dabi without just burning him to a crisp. The rest of the family is not going to be able to use their ice or whatever quirks they have to stop Dabi. His flames are like literally melting concrete and gold and everything around him. So the only person that could theoretically stop Dabi is Shoto with his phosphor technique, which he is going to have to now somehow improve on the way there or in the moment, because we've seen that Dabi can already break out of that. So it really seems like a kind of hopeless situation on one side if you really just look at all the pieces here, but it seems like Horikoshi does have the intention of doing something. Maybe they're all just going to be there to see Dabi's final moments and hold his hand as he burns away and say sorry for how things were. Or do you think Horikoshi is actually setting up the Todoroki family to save Touya? I really can't tell. Personally, I do want Touya to go. I do not think that Touya is savable, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think Touya is savable, or do you think the whole Todoroki family is going to get there because this is Dabi's funeral?